element of certainty that retains effectively party autonomy. It's the parties who reach those agreements. They're fundamental to it. It's their agreement, as opposed to obviously an arbitration award is something that is for the arbitrators to determine. It tends to be black or white in terms of the issues there, whereas in a negotiated settlement, you can be so much more subject to being within the realms of legality, so much more comprehensive on what you can reach. And not only just settling the existing disputes, but perhaps those that are pending on the side, and maybe even some that people haven't even thought about yet. If it's properly constructed in terms of a dispute, in terms of a settlement, it can be incredibly powerful, particularly when you have ongoing relationships. So I think there is a lot of merit in that, and I think particularly in this day and age, the other aspect of it as well, because of course, once you complete your arbitration, you still have to enforce your award. And one of the things about a negotiated settlement is that, generally speaking, you don't have the same degrees of problems with enforcement because it comes from the parties themselves. And you might have with a whole new process of trying to enforce your award in multiple jurisdictions and the whole cost involved with that. So inevitably, again, we're looking at what, and this is what clients say consistently they want. They want you to resolve their dispute. We've kind of lost sight of many law firms rebranded as dispute resolution departments, settlement litigation departments or trial departments. And we're focused more on the winning rather than the resolving. The two aren't necessarily the same, because actually in reality, all a client really wants you to do is to take the problem away from them as quickly and as cheaply as possible. And again, not losing one's realizing we have the opportunity to settle a dispute is something that's very possible. Now you do that from a position of strength, of course, so it's not inconsistent with prosecuting your case with strength and vigor, but at the same time it is keeping open to that. So coming back to this question about the expectations, I think arbitrators can be very helpful in terms of, number one, recognizing and asking the parties what they consider at settlement. Is there anything that the arbitrator or tribunal can do to assist in that process? For example, agreeing a short stay to allow parties some room for maneuver can be extremely helpful. So I think that could be included in the procedural order. Number one, for example, just a one line and putting a marker down. Ultimately, if the parties can't resolve, you want to get on with your arbitration, that's fine. But I think there is a real sense, and where you have this cultural difficulty, is that settlement can be a sign of weakness. So that's what the objective of everybody's objective is. And I think dealing with that and recognizing that actually the two aren't inconsistent and that you can use your settlement negotiations really is a strategic tool to reach the outcome you want, and that there is an alternative to following it all the way through to an expensive arbitration process, which, as I remind everybody, will need to be enforced in any event, is something that is challenging around. And I kind of conclude the opening comment by saying, I think certainly since COVID, which was in a horrendous time that we all want to forget, one of the few benefits of COVID is I think it forced us all to rethink how we do basically everything, but one of those was dispute resolution. And I think there has been this renaissance and push towards mediation globally that suddenly has taken traction and is in many places now mandated, including in the UK, because we've seen the beginnings of mandatory mediation. So there is a kind of movement towards that, and I think arbitration, as I say, may seem like a contradiction in terms, but they have a role to play as part of that process of encouraging parties to settle and using the process to help them reach that outcome.